It's the ethical underground. Let's play a gong.
But is it really? Or is it all just a conspiracy?
How smart are you, Chip? Are you the smart one?
I mean, how do we measure intelligence? That's the question. I do have a high IQ.
Do you?
I mean, I was in every school I went to. I was top 3 of the highest IQ in the school.
Oh wow! You can recognize patterns so that we can divide people for industrial purposes.
I can easily recognize patterns, so I can tell you who to enslave.
You will be a great slave.
Not a good slave. I'm a good person who tells who to enslave.
No, you're just a good. It was made to separate the industrial resources of humanity.
Wow, that is some Sunday morning music right there.
That's right. Join the resistance, baby. Thank you, everybody, for joining the Ethical Underground.
Is it safe to say that if you don't resist, that means you participate? Like, are you complicit if you don't resist?
I think you're complicit. At some point, you have to be. You're complicit. Yes.
So if there's somebody on the street kicking a dog and you just walk on by and do nothing, then you're complicit.
You're complicit in the crime, depending on your proximity to that person, for sure.
Oh. So Trump supporters are complicit in the Trump rape?
At this point, I would say absolutely. They're complicit in the crimes against children that he and Epstein carried out.
Oh God.
Oh my gosh.
God.
Yeah, there's no God. No, sorry. Oh, our unexistent God.
Well, there's an Antichrist, so maybe there is a God.
Yeah, that's right. It says there's an Antichrist. Maybe. Whoop. All right. Welcome to the show, everybody. It's the Ethical Underground. Thank you so much for being here.
But
hey,
here.
Today is the Ethical Underground. Thank you all for joining live on the Skyjack Morgan channel. But we also have Skylar Thomas from Watching Humans and that Chip guy from That Chip Guy. Thanks for joining me, gentlemen. We're going to talk about some cool stuff today. Chip, are you excited? You're the smart one, you said. You're claiming intelligence all of a sudden.
I'm not. I wouldn't claim intelligence necessarily. I'm intelligent by the definition that I apply to, but I don't think I'm smart. I don't know how to explain it, right? Like, I think like you can say intelligence is either your capability to apply the knowledge you already have in new situations. That's what I would call intelligence. And I would say then in that situation, yeah, I'm pretty good at that, I guess. Not as good as others. Like I have a friend of mine who's like fucking brilliant instantly about new situations, adapts almost instantly to everything, and he instantly finds everything, patterns, everything around him. He also always had a higher IQ than me. But I don't have a lot of knowledge, right? So I don't have a lot of I don't have a lot of things to apply, I guess.
Hey, Sky, as the new guy, can I already jump in here?
Yeah, of course, please. This is a debate format, so to speak.
Isn't what Chip, just based on what I saw of the outline, isn't what Chip just did the umbrella problem that he gets to define what intelligence is? In my case,
seems like
intelligence means because that's what the human race does. It's like, well, we're smart because we did this, and the other species don't do this, therefore they're not smart.
Yeah, a fish is stupid because he can't climb a ladder, while the fish looks at us and says we're stupid because we can't swim.
But wait a minute, because I want to reply to that. We're replying here left and right. So at some point we will need a term to define this thing that we create, right? Like I do understand that there is a negative or a positive connotation to the idea of intelligent or smart or stupid, but to some extent we do need two terms that do define this particular type of intelligence that we have, right? Like we do need a term that says, hey, I have a lot of this, I have medium of this, or none of this, right? I don't even know if there is a quantity to be had, but
I guess,
saying, like, yeah.
When I was prepping for this, while we were talking about intelligence, we want to talk about intelligence, I kept on going down the rabbit hole of what is thinking. And it's something that I studied a lot in college, so something where I have a little bit of something to draw from. I'm thinking Heidegger and Walter Benjamin. So in my outline today, I do want to touch on that, because even though we keep on talking about what is intelligence, but then we don't know even what freaking thinking is. And to me, that's the ultimate form of intelligence, is your ability to think. And we need to talk about what it even is.
I didn't have a problem with defining intelligence as much as the fact that it's not a committee of different species coming together to define it. It's one species that
Oh.
they still defines it.
Yeah, it's human intelligence, just to be clear, right? Like it's not intelligence as a general. I would define the way I define intelligence would be human intelligence, because in
With
reality,
the
maybe
option of ignoring all the dumb shit that we do.
It's so interesting, Skylar, because you bring up an
100%,
important thing. Who defines intelligence? You said humans, but humans don't do it. A certain subset of humans did. Chip mentioned IQ. Who invented IQ? Industrialists, in order to categorize human resources. That's what
Did each of the
IQ
schools
was.
you go to actually test for IQ, Chip?
yeah, so the schools that I was, it's kind of funny really, because now that I think about it, it's such a fucked up thing, because they did an IQ test for everybody in the school, and the smarter kids, they took them all out and they put them in a class where they taught them better, essentially. So they were like, the ones who know better, we're gonna try to do them better by them, but the ones who don't know better, we're not gonna try anymore that hard. So that's what
See,
they
America
did.
did the opposite. They took all the shit and put them in with good students so that no one learns.
I mean, it's not a bad idea. Like, I feel like tests like this shouldn't say, "Oh, I'm gonna take you because you're the special one" or something. They should say, "Oh, this person needs more understanding" or something, right?
It is interesting in Europe that they do that. In America, we have like this this idea that the middling people will be the largest. So we try to, but then we always end up going at the lowest common denominator, which is like almost like a tragedy of the commons kind of thing. Where if we're always if we're always teaching to the dumbest student, then all the kids that are above that person gets kind of left behind. And that sucks. In Europe, they're like, "Oh, you're good with your hands. Looks like you're going to craft school. Oh, you're good with numbers." And you're like, "I'm 5." Like they're already kind of separating people at that young age. I don't think it's right.
I mean, I was 12, and I was deciding between should I go to college, which was in like 6 years, for history or for math, because those are the ones that I liked. So I had to decide then, but
And you
I
decide.
didn't really.
Yeah, I mean, I want to get to why STEM is the devil too, really quickly. But let's get to that in a second. But I did, because STEM is AI is better than we are at STEM, and we've in the last 15, 20 years have been teaching children only STEM, dismissing the humanities, getting rid of PE, physical education, getting rid of any kind of art classes in schools, and we teach STEM, and that's exactly what we'll be replacing with AI. It's pretty funny that that's the thing that they said was going to get all these people these great jobs, and they're the very people who are going to get axed by AI.
I actually resisted commenting on what you two just said about like taking recognized skill sets at an early age, probably too early, and separating people by that. We're not even doing that now. Everybody is conforming into robotic coders. Like I jog down the street here, and I see all of these preschools that say we teach coding. I'm like,
yeah,
fuck, you're celebrating this?
We're teaching children to be machines while the machines are getting smarter than children. Why are we teaching children to be like machines?
When do they learn to be outside or do anything fun? Like, when does that happen in childhood?
That's a luxury, apparently.
But I don't have a problem with teaching coding in particular. I think. Let me just explain. Wait, let me make my case. I think
because
logic.
He's the intelligent one, Jack.
No, I think logic and critical thinking. And I think coding is one of those things that just teaches you to abstract things. I don't think you should learn coding as in like a specific coding language, but I think it's important, and not as a child, obviously, like somewhere around the age of 12, 14.
But the problem is what they do
to abstract.
They do that at the expense of the humanities and treat humanities like a luxury, when humanities is the very thing that is going to be the survival of our species with the rising tide of AI. The only thing that we will have for humanities survival will be the humanities. But too late, we've been teaching kids coding instead. That's the problem, Chip. You don't have a problem teaching. I don't have a problem kids learning whatever they want to learn, but it's at what cost? And if it's, we're not going to teach kids about, I don't know, poetry or art or running on the grass, then that's a problem.
Well, my understanding is that if we're going to talk about that, if we are going to embrace that one form of intelligence, we also have studies that have shown that engaging in these other activities enhances that other form of intelligence. The monoculturing of one type of intelligence or schooling is ultimately not beneficial. You're actually preventing the full development.
I completely agree. Like, I don't. Well, I also have a problem with how we teach STEMs. FYI, like, I think like I don't know how it's taught in America. I think in America STEM is taught a little bit better than it was where I came from, Romania. But like we just taught way too more abstract information and way too many numbers and stuff instead of actually learning some form of usability towards all of it, right? Like nobody taught us why integrals are important, yet they are very important. So you're right that you're right that there are other things that we should learn, and I completely agree. Like intelligence isn't just that, but it's also how we teach all of it, right? Like we can't just like I think that's the biggest problem in the educational system: how we teach children, not necessarily what we teach them. I think how is a bigger issue.
But I think that's the thesis of this entire episode: is that we've confused intelligence with the instruments of intelligence. That every era we mistake the most impressive cognitive tool for the thing itself, cognition, and it isn't. First, it was like in Shakespeare's day, it was memory. If you can remember shit, then you were the smartest person in the room. If you could remember things, and then it was logic. Logic is everything. Everything else sucks. That's when you start getting the idea that logic is masculine and good, and emotions are feminine and bad. And you get patriarchy and messed up things there. And then computation. Today, it's all about the speed at which you compute, at which you code, at which you do machine stuff. And now we've built machines that are better than we are, and we're finally forced to ask, what is the thing the instrument was always supposed to serve? And that thing is, the human, the human being. And what we've been calling intelligence all along is what's systematically defunding that. And we're systematically defunding human intelligence.
That is sad, isn't it? Because
Yes.
so I think I was talking to a friend of mine who does actual training of AIs. Like he actually works for you're not gonna like it. Sky, you're gonna hate this. But
Okay.
He works for a company that is building AI for the police here in the Netherlands, so that they put cameras around big events, and the AI will identify if somebody's being violent or not. And that the police can go directly there in the chat.
Crime.
In the group.
Isn't that
Essentially,
great?
they're trying to identify who's violent or not. That's what they were. I think it's a good idea because it works the other way around, right? Well,
No, what that does is that's the state monopolizing violence. The state has a monopoly on violence, and if you move a little weird, then they're like, "You're violent," and they shoot you because the machine said you were
they
violent.
don't shoot people here, Sky. This isn't America.
They will.
People don't get shot here.
Europeans.
You guys have had legalized marijuana for how long? How do you even have any violence?
Oh yeah, that's why.
A lot of Americans visit.
Everyone's just stoned.
American tourists.
I mean, alcohol equals violence. I don't know very many street fight videos that have been shot because people were smoking joints.
Yeah, it's very rare, I suppose. Yeah, I think you're right, but
I would say
Europe has killed plenty of people in the streets.
Yeah, I forgot what I was saying. Oh yeah, this friend of mine, and he's in fact he told me sometimes that he feels embarrassed and he doesn't like it that sometimes he uses AI to solve some issues on how to train the AI, but like he doesn't like it because he feels that his brain is deteriorating by using AI, and he's actively trying to not use AI anymore. But me as a software engineer, I am getting pushed more and more by the company that I work for to say use more AI because you can build faster. So like I'm in a position I'm in a position right now where I'd like to I worked up until like a month ago. I used AI very rarely, only when I needed to do repetitive stuff, but I was told no more. You have to use AI to work faster. So
because speed is the thing that we worship. That's a dromosphere. The speed is the wielding of power itself. Isn't that funny?
Race to the end.
Race to the end, a race to the bottom.
We also produce a lot of ecstasy here. Someone from the Netherlands, I assume. Okay, so is there a lot of violence on ecstasy?
No, I mean ecstasy.
That's
people
love, right?
When I lived in Hanover, I used to go to Amsterdam to pick up my E, and then I brought it back in a Costco aspirin bottle. Hey guys, Chip, what is your definition? One sentence of intelligence.
Well, I just said it, right? It's your capability to apply your pre-existing knowledge to new situations.
Interesting. What about you, Skylar? Do you have a definition?
No. I don't.
Okay, cool.
I think that's the smartest answer, actually.
That's the smartest answer.
Yeah.
I think what you're actually
Silence is wisdom.
I'm pretty sure that's phronesis, which is Aristotle,
You're so
practical
smart.
wisdom.
You're so smart.
I studied before this one. I had a couple things up my sleeve, but I'm the smart one because I know
You
what
found the
phronesis
intelligent
is.
one.
Yeah, I've read Aristotle, so I must be smart. See, that's the thing, right? Is someone who read Aristotle smarter? I don't think so. Is he smarter than a fish? Practical wisdom, knowing how to rightly in this, what to do right, knowing how to act rightly in this specific situation, not by rule, but by reading moral texture. What do you think, Chip? Phronesis, practical wisdom, knowing how to act rightly in this specific situation, not by rule, but by reading moral texture. Is that what you're thinking?
I guess I don't really understand that whole thing well enough. Not by rule, but by
Practical
knowledge.
wisdom. You said that your wisdom, your experience, and how you apply it. So, like,
Yeah,
if you
but
have
apply it
wisdom
in
for
a new situation, right?
yeah,
Like,
this specific situation, like whatever situation you're in, you have the wisdom to know how to act rightly in whatever situation. I guess it should be instead of this situation.
yes, sure. I'll agree to that.
I think. What do you think about? Because I keep on bringing up the fish, and that's
Yeah.
called somatic intelligence. Athletes, dancers, surgeons, trauma survivors. Western rationalization discredits it, but it cannot be uploaded. Somatic intelligence. What do you think about that?
Is that
Can't-
like how well you use, how coordinated you are with your own body, and how well you can use it?
I always use the definition of the example of someone like David Beckham. He is moving his feet in such a way, he's taking wind speed velocity readings all with his body. He's doing all of this, and he's able to bend the ball around four dudes and get it into the goal. Actually, around five because the goalie, right? He's able to do all that. That's Einstein level thinking, and he's just doing it. Somatic
What-
intelligence.
I think the question, like the problem with, I mean, I agree with what you're saying. It's just that to some extent, I don't know if you've done sports. You've done sports, and you know
Yeah.
that to some extent, after a while, it becomes a little bit like, I don't want to call it mechanic, but it does become like it's like playing an instrument, right? It's at first you need to put in a lot of focus, and then you don't need to put in that much focus anymore, and you become great at it on your own, right?
Isn't
So-
playing an instrument a form of intelligence?
I think it is. I think all of them are. I just does like let's define it from the beginning. Does intelligence require focus?
I think it. Well, I think inherently it requires resilience in the face of uncomfortable feelings. Like I think all of the things that we're going to explore. One thing that I found in common is that intelligence or higher level thinking requires a degree of tolerance to uncomfortable feelings, and that's something that I think was constant in all of them. Like learning a guitar, you've got to deal with a lot of frustration and shit that hurts. Your fingers hurt. All these dancing. When you want to be smart, when wisdom, you got to go and get those experiences. A lot of them are going to be negative experiences. Even the idea of negative capabilities, the idea of thinking is holding two ideas in your head and letting them play together, even if they're imposed, and not giving up, not just trying to look for a solution, but allowing them to interact. It's called negative capability. It sounds like cognitive dissonance, right? And that's the feeling that you get because of those opposing views. It's negative. It feels bad. So you have to, I think that is that piece that's always missing, I think, with a lot of people. When you talk about stupid or smart, I think intelligence is the ability to tolerate that negative feeling
It's
while
interesting.
thinking.
So you're saying that intelligence requires you also to put yourself in an uncomfortable situation. So
Absolutely.
It
That's
requires
what
you
I
to
think.
Get out of your comfort zone. I actually completely agree with you.
In fact,
Completely agree with
dude,
you on
I
that
think
one.
that's what intelligence is. That's where I'm going. I think intelligence is your ability to sit with that and deal with it while having your eye on the prize, which is greater either wisdom, somatic, intelligence, whatever it is.
I think intelligence can be measured how you handle an uncomfortable situation, right? Not necessarily that you go, because there can be people who put themselves in uncomfortable situations and then they just like crash out or something. But I think intelligence to some extent is how you handle the uncomfortable situation. Like emotional intelligence could say that, see, I'm dealing with my emotions. I'm okay. I'm comfortable being uncomfortable. Actual intelligence could mean, oh, I'm gonna. Sorry, I call it actual. I don't know how to call it, but like this thing that we call it applied.
Hey, Skyjack, do you have the power to organize like a fundraiser that includes a fight?
A fight?
Yeah,
Fight.
like Dems dumbed and hate speak. I don't know. I can't speak for these two.
Hey,
but,
hey, speakers, going right here. Fingers hurt. Let's see those fingernails, gentlemen. We got any grit, oil, dirt, those silky smooth mitts reek of management class. I've done every job. I started at the low end, but my fingers have calluses right here on the floor from playing guitar.
well, I work in the dirt every day, but I'm confident that I would defeat both of those guys in any sport and in any fight, in any form of fight. So please schedule a ring match. I'd love to beat the shit out of
Cage
you.
match.
Wait, who do you want to beat?
And
I wanna
then
see.
I'll intelligently defeat them in a debate after I beat the shit out of them.
How about a game of chess? Is chess a sign of intelligence? Or Rubik's cubes?
Wait, I got a good one. Speaking of this, there's actually been recently shown that in order to have your brain still be plastic, right? Because brain plasticity is a very important thing.
Yeah.
While you're working out, while you're doing exercise. So if you're fighting Skylar, this guy, while you're fighting, you should also debate him at the same time.
Yeah.
Because if you're doing an intellectual activity while at the same time doing sport, apparently that does wonders for your brain plasticity.
Is that like shit talking during a game of chess?
Essentially, or going on a treadmill and doing chess. That's also good, right? Like some form of spiking your blood, not pressure, but BPM, your
blood pressure.
and blood. Well, it's not blood pressure. That's
Does it
not what I-
does it the P in BPM stands for beats per minute, right?
Yeah, it's beats per minute. It's not
Okay.
blood pressure. It's the other thing. Blood frequency, whatever.
Heart rate.
Heart rate. Thank you. Spiking your heart rate while at the same time doing something that demands some cognitive.
Okay, but all right, listen. I played 1 minute games of chess because I like speed chess. I enjoy it very much. But what we're doing right now is I don't know. Don't let the trolls get you down, buddy. It's a whole thing. You can't let them get you down. The quote that I have right here says that it's from Seneca. It's not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a great deal of it. Seneca, and that to me makes me think about the worship of speed. How we're always going to try to it's going to be as quickly as possible, and that we have to be sorted out. And isn't that what the IQ sorting machine even is? It's like a way to kind of branch you off earlier, so we could sort industrial populations more efficiently. Like IQ is a tool by the masters who invented a number, and then they call that a mind. And that pisses me off. I always hate when people bring up the IQ, to be honest.
Well, let's talk,
I
about
also
the
think
short,
it's
let's talk
stupid.
about the short time to live and the concept that humans have of using that time in a wise manner versus other species. Because you've spoken of fish a couple of times. And I'm going to name drop. I can remember being frustrated the first time I had to learn about Rene Descartes, the father of modern philosophy.
The squeaky
right?
machine.
And it's like, and yet sitting around just worrying whether or not this was even real, or if it's in our minds, or if we're imagining that we're in existence or not. And it's like, okay, other species are too busy being alive and doing what they're actually supposed to do on this earth from an ecological standpoint to waste time writing down thoughts about whether or not they are even really there. And now let's take that a step further and imagine a living room full of unintelligent human beings watching a documentary about this new fish they've never heard of before, because why would they have ever heard of it, that is building this elaborate rock formation to attract a female, or another type of rock formation that protects the fish's family from a predator. And the living room full of intelligent humans is going, oh my God, wow, I never knew that before. That's so cool. How would you ever know about that? How?
Yeah.
Like, why are you constantly surprised that you don't know things when you don't know a goddamn thing about anything?
Well, that's but that goes back to why is knowing things, is that what makes intelligence? I mean,
No, but it makes you unqualified to judge whether or not something else is intelligent.
Intelligence is the capacity to participate in life in ways that increase flourishing for oneself, for other beings, and for the living. Thinking as service, intelligence as service. I like that. Tim. I want to talk about thinking as dwelling, which is like a Heidegger idea. He made this book that I translated when I was in college called Was heißt denken? It's called what is thought called, or something. I called it the name of thought in my translation. I thought it was better. No one ever did that before, so I thought that was pretty cool. But he said that we're not thinking at all yet, and it's not because we lack data or processing power, but because we haven't turned toward the most demanding thing, like all the demands of thoughts, right? Like thinking is not computational analysis, it's dwelling, it's the willingness to stay with what is difficult and unresolved without fleeing into solutions. And like this abandonment of solutions seems like always seemed kind of Buddhist to me. And the worst enemy isn't stupidity, it's the busyness of calculation masquerading as thought. And the university, the corporation, the algorithm, they all have the same thing: get to the answer as quickly as possible. And Heidegger says this compulsive forward movement is primary obstacle to genuine thought. What do you think about that one?
Do we assume that we control our thoughts?
You see this is another thing you always end up in, because you spend so much time with algorithms. You think that everything is an algorithm.
No, I'm just like, I don't think we control our thoughts.
You're just like a person who reads the Bible every day and then uses it to have the answer for everything. Because you spend so much time.
I don't think we control our thoughts. That's not because of Bible or whatever.
Your determinism.
Thank you for saying that. It's not even because of determinism. I just like, even if the universe were not deterministic, and even if you did actually have free will, I still don't think you can control your
Whether
thoughts.
we control them is kind of irrelevant. Whether we have them is what makes sense, right? And Rene Descartes, as Skylar so adroitly brought up, I think, therefore I am. So the existence of your thoughts, whether or not you are synthesizing them, because after all, aren't I using my father's language and his father's language and his father's language? I'm still using the language that I didn't invent. It just feels like I'm synthesizing these words, but I'm not. So you're right. There's some weird kind of nebulous thing we can go down into. But just like Skylar said, Rene Descartes, birth of enlightenment, I think, therefore I am. The thing that I can prove is my existence by virtue that I have thought. So why aren't we thinking more? Instead of trying to find solutions for industry's problems of making money.
I guess I was being a dick, because in this context, thought doesn't mean what actual thought means. In this context, thought more than anything means seek knowledge, right?
Not seek knowledge, but to sit with a thing and dwell in it. That thinking is dwelling. It's an interesting concept that Heidegger kind of circles and circles and circles, and Walter Benjamin gets into it as well. Here's a quote for you. It's too small for me to read. The test of a first-rate intelligence is the ability to hold two opposed ideas in mind at the same time and still retain the ability to function. F. Scott Fitzgerald. Isn't he saying that first-rate intelligence is the ability to face cognitive dissonance and win? And win?
That's kind of a weird one. I wouldn't agree with that one.
No?
No, because that essentially says the first sign of intelligence is being able to receive data and ignore some part of data.
Not ignore it, but to live with it.
Yeah, but live with it means to some extent ignore it, right? Like, not, it doesn't necessarily ignore it or accept it or whatever, right? Like you don't want to use that data. You have two conflicting ideas, and you can just pick which one is yours. I guess it's some form of human intelligence again, right? It's a way of redefining towards what we do as humans.
I think most of the time people will run away from that. They find that there are two conflicting viewpoints, data points, whatever, and rather than sit with it and find out what it means, they'll try to have one win over the other, and they won't actually just. What they'll try to do is race toward a solution, and Heidegger says that's fleeing. He calls it fleeing toward a solution, because it's so painful to have two opposing ideas. Dude, after you have your teeth knocked out, why is it with you? What is it with you, Maggers?
What?
Maggers, dude. After you have your teeth knocked out by MAGA Alpha, and MAGA Alpha. I'm gonna stop right there.
The most beta group ever existed.
But
It's like the most beta group in the world.
Go have some.
But what's this
tea in
person
Trump's
trying to say
little
even?
ballroom and
'Cause-
put makeup on each other.
This person's not threat. But Sky, the funny thing is that this person is not saying after I knock your teeth out. They're like, you know what? I know somebody who's mega and
Some
strong.
MAGA Alpha's gonna do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Some looks maxing beta cuck. It's so funny that these guys they'll worship this fat old man with makeup on, this ridiculous clown character, and be like, I'm alpha. That's hilarious to me. And it's funny because my whole channel is about, like, don't have leaders, be your own leader, be your own person, build community, help others. And they're like, no, Donald Trump's the alpha. Did you hear what he said, just as a tangent? Did you hear what he said about Robert Mueller?
I'm glad he's dead.
I'm glad he's dead. Like, how
that's
presidential.
I mean, did you expect better?
I mean, wasn't he the sixth? He was the FBI director for like over 10. I hate the FBI, and I could think of only really one or two people in my lifetime where when they died, I was like, awesome, and fucking, it has never been a bureaucrat. It has never been. Can you think of anyone who died? I'll tell you mine. The only person who died, and I was like stoked, was Jerry Falwell. I was like, awesome work. I'm glad he's finally gone. But
isn't this a sign of dementia, that he has dementia, right? Like one of the prefrontal cortex dementia, or something like that they call them, right? When you can't hold your thoughts in anymore, and you just say whatever comes to your mind. So
yeah, he's got dementia. It's clear, dude.
Yeah.
I told you, my father lives in the memory ward of a home, and when I go visit him, all the people there talk like Donald Trump.
So why is this them?
But you
so,
act
so
like his behavior changed with dementia. I mean, he's always been this.
Oh, come on! This is different from
It's
from
a
the
little bit
first
worse.
from the first
Yeah, it's way
season
worse.
of the Trump show. The first
The first
administration
season-
wasn't this bad. Holy shit!
Yeah, I remember the first administration. I would wake up, have my smoothie while looking at what dumb shit Trump said and did, and it was kind of funny. But now it's beyond sad. Like now it's just absolutely. It's also beyond stupid, not just stupid, and it's all bad. It's just
Talk
it's
about beyond stupid. Now imagine the dumbest thing you ever heard, and the audience going, "Yeah."
Yeah.
Like your trolls in the comments.
My favorite part about it though is too there's such little zombie sheep. Like they're not just sheep, they're zombie sheep. They are sheep that have died, had their brains rot, and they brought them back to life. They are completely devoid of any kind of critical thinking, and to the point where they've heard forever, Iran, we are never going to go to war with Iran. Let's not do it. That would be horrible. And then the guy's like, I'm going to Iran. Oh yeah, we had to. It was absolutely necessary that we go to Iran. Like, what the hell?
And
Vladimir Putin is
these 100% compassionless people who cheer for the demise of other people in the United States of America suddenly are like, we had to help the people.
Yeah, we had to help those protesters. We had to help those protesters in Iran. Well, what about Renee Good and Alex Preddy? Well, they were protesting.
They were domestic terrorists.
They're domestic terrorists. They're protesting. My favorite thing. Okay, my favorite piece of irony. I made a post about it. Is that these people are so stupid that they listen to Pete Hegseth say that Iran is oil rich, energy rich. They have all this money, but instead of investing in their people, they're investing in weapons. And it's like, okay, well, first, the weapons are being invested in because of America. They only really have two enemies, and really it's one. It's Israel and America, right? That's why they have weapons. But the other thing is every man, woman, and child has the constitutional right in Iran to guess what? Can you guess? A right that we don't have, that every Iranian has the constitutional right. What do you think? What right do they have that we don't have?
Protest?
No, come on,
We
guys.
don't
No,
have
they
that.
killed
Well, we
killed
don't have
30,000. They killed 30,000 protesters. So no. Come on. One right that they have in their constitution. The Iranians have a right to this, but we do not. It's a positive right, not a negative right.
To demand that the money that the state used be used in a different manner.
It's healthcare, guys. It's healthcare.
We forgot about
Sorry.
that. Yeah, U.S.
Sorry,
people
I
doesn't
removed
have
myself from the intelligence.
They have not only free healthcare, but a constitutional right to it.
That's fucking amazing.
And Pete Hegseth gets on the news and says they put all their money into the military and don't help their people. We spent $1 trillion a year. Every year we spend $1 trillion, and this motherfucker's back on TV asking for 200 billion more. Like, what? I gave you $2 trillion. You mouse asking for a fucking cookie. You asked for a cookie, and now you're bombing
ironic.
Iran.
It's ironic, isn't it?
Yeah. And don't forget, we in America, we're just talking about Iran. But meanwhile, the whole reason we are bombing Iran is apparent to me that we are the rent-a-cop for Israel, because what's Israel doing while we're bombing Iran? Oh, they're killing men, women, and children over in Lebanon.
This guy, I'm sorry, but I just have to read this comment because it's just so stupid. By Dem's dumb. Listen, Skylar Thomas. That cannot be the name that your parents gave you. No one would do that to a child. Okay, remember, nobody would do that to a child. And if they did, adult abuse has occurred. The fuck? No, it's called child abuse, bro. That's what you're trying to say. And the authorities must be contacted. I think this MAGA person already said that children are adults. Like, he's already at that stage.
MAGA wants to make the age of consent 14 and and legalize child labor, but yeah. They're really worried about all the kids.
Sorry,
really
I couldn't be Chad, Rob, or Billy Bob.
Billy Bob. Oh, dang, do. All right, so yeah, I'm sure Mojtaba Khamenei is concerned about healthcare for Iranian. Well, right now they've got bombs. Pete Hegseth says it's raining fire from the sky. I'm sure we're really concerned about healthcare, aren't we? Like, at least they had it. They have a constitutional right to healthcare. What do we have a right to? Nothing. We don't have the right to have guns in this country. Donald Trump's confiscating guns. I don't even want to get into it.
Even now, after Fox News has told Dumb what to think after these months, and they suddenly started talking about Iran, even though they haven't been thinking about Iran because Fox News told them to think about Iran. Even now, I don't think Dumb could point to Iran on a map.
But no, they can't. Did you see how many Americans could look at Iran and point? They see
I
the
saw
thing.
how many Americans couldn't point to the United States of America versus the ocean. I mean, we've been gone for a long time, man. The plan to stupefy the voting population has been in effect for a very long time.
I think that's actually a thing. Was to the Republicans for so long wanted a stupid voter base, so they kept on defunding education to the point where Linda McMahon is now the
illiterate human being in office, and George W. They switch it to, he's a plain talk person.
Just a plain talker.
They used to say, he's plain talk. First of all,
he's a man of the people.
Large should be better than you. Okay, don't be happy that they're down at your level. They need to be better than you. And plain talk is different than being illiterate.
Well, and we've had illiterate presidents in the past, but like I don't know. Is literacy intelligence, gentlemen?
Boy, I set myself up for that.
To some
Is
extent,
literacy
it's not.
intelligence? Can you be illiterate and still be intelligent?
No, because there
Yeah.
are people who are fluent in languages who can't read and write them.
Yeah,
That's
I
true.
don't think I don't think they correlate. But there is an interesting thing about reading that does prescribe to intelligence, which I never really realized. It's not that. It's when you read like first of all you identify symbols, right, which make up words,
Yeah.
and those words you have to use your imagination to make a story. So that it's an interesting reading is a very interesting like.
Yeah. Would you like to know what it's called?
What's it called?
Mythopoetic intelligence. This is Jungian and Joseph Campbell idea. Thinking in story, symbol, and archetype. Every wisdom tradition takes this seriously, and we've declared it primitive. But what I think is funny is like mythopoetic intelligence is what we're talking about, and it's like I feel like it's one of those basic things. It's almost like the Mendoza line, right? If you can't do reading, then you have no business being in charge of other people in an academic or like a power structure like the United States government, right?
Oh,
Like,
100%, yeah.
It's kind of like Mendoza was a baseball player who had a low batting average, and they wouldn't let him play. They were like, but he was such a good. I think he was a good shortstop or something. I forget what his job was. I think he was a shortstop, but his batting average was so shitty, and so they said everybody has to pass this line if they want to be on the team. They have to be at least as good a batter as Mendoza. Doesn't matter how good you are as an outfielder, because you have to be a batter too. I don't know. I feel like you got to read to be president. That's just a
You got a sign.
Come on, man.
prerequisite. Just a prerequisite.
Big standards
Do you-
you're setting. So
Do
unreasonable.
you think Trump ever read a book? Because I'm almost certain that he hasn't.
I don't think he's read his own book, or else he would know that he mentions Jeffrey Epstein in it.
I don't think he
The
read
guys
one
from Saturday Night
single book.
Live swear to God he can't read.
Oh yeah, I saw that Pete Davidson said he doesn't understand reading. So he says like he can read the words, but he doesn't know what he's reading.
What's that mean?
So like the classic, he's like, hey, oh yeah, that's great, turkey leg, and he goes, that's great, turkey leg, and he's like, no,
Yeah.
it's like, hey, do you want to, hey, yeah,
Yes. It's
Well-
what I was saying, right? The interesting part about reading is not just that you identify the symbols, but you also have to put those symbols together, formulate a word, and on that word, like, have some imagination on what it represents.
yeah, but like
So
the
he
arrogance.
doesn't have that capability.
It's arrogance, because that's the thing that Pete Davidson and these guys from SNL were saying, like, okay, it's a joke, right? Hey, welcome to Disneyland, turkey leg, and Donald Trump's like, welcome to Disneyland, turkey leg, and they're like, no, it's welcome to Disneyland, turkey leg. I'm just gonna do it my own way. Is how he answers it.
Wasn't it when he
Confident-
held the
confidence.
speech?
Yeah, confidence.
Yeah,
Like, no, A plus 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 plus, no room for improvement. Like,
Yeah, wasn't it when he read the speech, like insert name here or something?
yeah,
Read name?
it was
Hey,
state
are-
your name. But that's
State
like,
your
Are
name,
people
yeah.
still dying in this Iranian war?
yeah, they're still dying.
Yeah.
Because last week Trump told the goon squad in Kentucky that the war was over. How are people
Oh,
still
yeah.
dying from a war that's over?
And yet, every time someone asks him, "Hey, is the war over or is it still going?" He's like, "It could be both." It's like he says it could be both. Either the war's over, or it's like Donald Trump treats this war like a Schrodinger's cat. Like, we don't know. When I feel it in my bones, it's over. It's like, how can we say the guy's running on vibes and these idiots like, when I feel it in my bones, it's over. That's
And
what
he
we're.
says it.
That's what he said. He said, when I feel it in my bones, I'll know it's over. Okay. Cool. I'm glad we have a clear objective. Donald Trump. And then PX says, like, we got a clear objective from the president. We do? Yeah, we got to make sure it feels it in the bones.
I think he had a boner for a while, Sky.
I'm sure he can, he's got help with that, pharmaceutical help. the quote that I wanted to put from Heidegger was, thinking does not bring knowledge as do the scientists. Thinking does not produce usable practical wisdom. Thinking does not solve the riddles of the universe. Thinking does not endow us directly with the power to act. So what even is thinking, huh? See, this is why I think this is what intelligence is the ability to think. And I don't think people have it. And Heidegger said that we didn't.
Is it the capability to think, or is it like how you think?
I guess like
How about the willing surrender of thinking and handing
Yes.
it over to AI?
well, that's the thing, right?
That's definitely not intelligence. I wouldn't say that.
That's the thing, though, dude. What are we actually handing over to AI? It's computation. We're not like AI can't really think. It can only
Well.
compute and find solutions for us.
Depends on how
Okay,
you
but
define
there's
thinking.
thinking behind
I
the intelligent
think-
species that is glorifying their idea. Because what are humans selling AI as? Oh, you don't have to think anymore. Oh, sit back. Oh, it'll do the job for you. You're celebrating the idea of something else thinking for you, and yet you don't want to admit that it's thinking.
But no, it's because we've defined thinking as this how do I serve my master? And so now we're allowing the machine to serve the master, and we're like, well, what good am I? Well, what's good is your ability to think, but you've never done it. Human beings have never done it. We've been training human beings how to be, like, this is my thesis. We've been training human beings how to be machines, and now we have machines. And Chip's like, well, it depends on how you define thinking. That's what I'm doing. I'm defining thinking as the ability to sit with new ideas and conflicting ideas and dwell in them and philosophize and bring out what does that bring? Someone said flourishing, new ideas, these aha moments.
I wanted to talk about improvisation as a form of thinking that separates us from machines. Like I listen to a classic rock channel on YouTube sometimes that the guy talks about how AI music is shit. Like your brain isn't being actually, you're being sedated rather than actually entertained and brought on board a journey, because you can tell the difference between a human emotionally doing things that his body feels like doing versus, hey, I was programmed to do this. Okay, so what happens when we program the machine to improvise?
We already can. We have like that's early on. We can.
So we've lost that differentiator already.
Except the problem is it still is trying to give you what you want. It'll improvise, but then you have to just iterate and iterate and iterate, and you are still the curator of those iterations, right? It can add randomness and improvisation, and it could start improvising in ways that you like, but that's all it's ever going to do. It's never going to do something and like let a chord hang because it's feeling something with the drummer or whatever.
I heard this really good thing this week about why AI videos suck so much and why they're not going to be always used. And I think this applies to music also. Because the interesting thing about a video that we don't even realize that we like so much is the fact that we know it happened. The fact that we know this shit was real. This was cool. This is like, right? Like, this is the beauty of filming something like that. There's just like, wow, this is real. This is something like, we don't just want like, I don't know, computer CGI always, right? A lot of the times we like things because we know they were real. And I feel like music is in the same way. We like music because they have some emotion.
We liked that before it was commercialized. First happened the commercialization. It's the same. Everything you're talking about is exactly on point, but it's like we took art and we made it into advertising. Well, first, propaganda, advertising. And then we took music and we turned that into advertising and propaganda and a marketing machine.
We made it into numbers, and then we said, let's predict what the next best thing is with the numbers.
And thinking, to me, would be sitting with two types of music that you don't like, or one that you do and one that you don't, and trying to understand why you like one and over the other. This is something that, in academia, we argue about, like, the value of criticism. And one value of criticism, which is something that I think is drastically missing in like YouTube criticism of movies especially, is that it's supposed to be like academic criticisms, trying to figure out a lot of times why we even like things to begin with. Taking a song like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and wondering why people like saying that and what the hell is going on. And that I think is valuable in understanding what makes us tick and how to function in this world.
But Sky, like all this thing about how to make us tick and how we function in the world, I hate to say it, but in a capitalist world, knowing how we think and how we function is used against us, which maybe we shouldn't keep exploring how we think and
use against us by whom? The machine
by
men,
corporations.
Yes,
by the people, they want to sell us shit. Stop.
That's right.
Stop it. I'm not going to buy anything. Stop
Hey,
it.
Speaker Sargon of Akkad says sipping a mimosa and telling 3 Guatemalans how to trim your begonia is yard work to some. I mean, this is one of the questions that people always ask me as an anarchist. They ask me who's going to trim your begonias. Actually, usually it's who's going to wash your dishes is the cliche. Who's going to wash your dishes? I'll wash them myself.
So he's for immigration, right? Like hate speaker is for immigration.
No, he's not, because he thinks you should be trimming your own begonias.
I thought he just said he's telling 3 Guatemalas.
That's yard work to some. He's pointing out the hypocrisy. That's obviously not yard work. If you're sipping on mimosas watching 3 Guatemalans trim your hedges, you're not doing yard work.
Oh.
I don't get it. Why? What's this? How does this fit in? Sorry.
I think that was... I think it was in reference to the AI doing stuff for you or something. I don't know what it is anymore. I thought it had something to do with something, but now I'm not so sure. Sorry. Ask me for the context of things.
You worked hard to give that comment some credit.
I'm not trying to give it credit. I just the guy paid $5. I'm going to put it on the screen. That's the deal. That's the deal of streaming. Skyler, someone pays $5, you put the fucking thing on the stream and you read it.
I get it.
That's the deal.
Fine. I'm just trying to understand.
That is the social contract. If someone puts money in the pot, you put their thing on the screen. You read the whatever they said. You figure out what it is.
So Sky, will you read absolutely anything that anybody says if they put money in there?
Absolutely.
So if somebody writes Trump is smart, you will read it out loud?
Of course.
If somebody writes I support Trump, will you read it out loud?
Yes.
No,
of course.
Okay.
Why would I not?
You're for sale, Sky. You're for sale.
I'm on YouTube, and the mission needs money. That's all it is.
I know. I'm joshing.
You act like you can't respond to that or use it as a learning opportunity.
I guess let me try to
but
use.
He always dishes me when I.
Let me try to use Steve's comment.
True? You're hypocritical.
Let me try to use Steve's comment to bring us back on track. Like, if I would say the person with that mimosa is in a position of privilege while the 3 Guatemalans trim her hedges, right? But I guess the big pushback would always be is sitting and dwelling with thinking, isn't that a privilege when we have rent due and we have no time for philosophical wandering? But I would say that, sure, but that's why capitalism is the devil and why we need to dismantle it immediately.
But Sky, like when it comes to sitting and dwelling, I think like a lot of us aren't even aware that we can do that, right? Like for instance, I learned as a grown-ass adult, which is kind of embarrassing for me to acknowledge, but I learned that when you go to a museum, you don't have to see everything in the museum. You can just go, and if you see something that you like, sit there and dwell in it and look at it. Yeah. Like a friend of mine taught me that, and I'm like, a friend of mine taught me, and I'm like, holy shit, why didn't I do that my whole life? I was just taught you go to a museum, you have to see everything that they say that you have to see at that museum. And I'm like, no, you don't. You can just go there and enjoy it. Like
it's funny. When I was a kid, it used to be like you went to Disneyland and you would rush to go to all the rides. You wanted to get on all the rides before the day is over. And you don't have to. You could just sit with one ride, go on at 5, just have a good time. Just chill and have a good time.
But we're taught a different thing, aren't we? We're taught like, does this mean I'm stupid? Because
because you've been brainwashed to Pokemon the world, collect them all. You gotta catch them all. You gotta collect them. You've got to exert. Like collecting and categorizing things is a manifestation of your masculinity too, and how it could be young boys collecting baseball cards or little girls collecting dolls and lining them up. It's a representation of your masculinity and this control you want to have over like lining things up and organizing and all this. But why don't we grow out of that and understand that that's like the baby form of masculinity and not the adult form of masculinity. Like Pokemon, the Pokemons evolve. Like all these motherfuckers are stuck at Magikarp. They're all stuck at Magikarp. They don't want to turn into that dragon thing. All right, so
you made me think of idle hands. Idle hands are the work of the devil.
Yes.
Now, this is biblical. So all the Trumpy dumpies who pretend that they're Christians when they're the exact opposite.
Trumpy dumpies. Yeah.
Now, are you guys going to get behind the proverb that idle hands are the work of the devil? Or not?
I don't think the devil has work for idle hands.
Well, I don't know what that I've heard of this expression, but what does it actually mean? Does it mean that if you don't work, you're doing something bad?
If you don't stay busy,
I think it creates the opportunity for bad things because you aren't busy doing. I don't know. I guess I interpret it if from a species level, I look at humans versus everything else. They're busy staying alive. They're busy doing what they were ecologically put on the earth to do. Humans, much like Rene Descartes, I think, well, you have idle hands. Now you're sitting around wondering not whether this is a dream. Why don't you just fucking get busy living? Instead of having so much time on your hands that you're wondering whether or not this is real.
See, it's a privilege, you say.
This is
thinking is a privilege.
That doesn't mean that animals that are fulfilling an ecological purpose don't think.
That's somatic intelligence.
Being efficient. They're just being efficient with their thinking.
As a classical overthinker myself, I'll tell you that I learned to accept the fact that I experience life more through analyzing it afterwards rather than actually living it in the moment, as you claim other species do. Which
sounds like something to work on.
I'm working on that through therapy also still, but I'm just like more than anything, I'm learning to accept that. So I would say that idle hands, no, it's not necessarily bad. Like just be who you are and challenge yourself.
Yeah, but to do nothing, the devil's playground can be. But I think that you should be dwelling in thought, and that could be as human a survival skill as a squirrel jumping from limb to limb. Thinking is what's going to save us. Our brains and the ability to think is what's going to be our survival skill as AI takes everyone's jobs and does everything. Intellectual labor will be the only thing left. Philosophizing will be the only thing left. And so
exactly, AI seems like it's going to lead to more idle hands.
Yeah, so maybe someone like Rene Descartes in the age of like it's pre-industrial, but it is like in the age of enlightenment, machines are being invented. They're having more and more intellectual capital to spend. Why not spend it on that instead of getting drunk? Like that's what most people do. They watch daytime TV and get drunk when they have intellectual capital. Oh, I don't have a job. I lost my job. They don't pick up a guitar or learn how to speak Spanish. They watch TV and get drunk all day. Like
we need I feel like a lot of the times we forget, because we live in this capitalistic world, we forget that we need to take breaks, and breaks means idle hands. Breaks help you move forward. Breaks help you be
It depends on what you do with the break, too. It's okay to take breaks. No one's saying that hustle culture is positive, but the devil has worked for idle hands means that, hey, when people are standing around doing nothing, they end up cutting fucking dead people's ears off and wearing them as necklaces because they think it's military boredom. Has been studied. It's insane.
But you need boredom. We need boredom also. That's what I'm saying. Like I
sure.
agree with you that we shouldn't be just boredom, but we need boredom. Yeah, Sky's gonna read that.
I love Daddy Trump. I'll read anything because I'm a big dummy. Bed Bath & Beyond doesn't go far enough. I put soy in my socks. Chip is the superior intellect on this show. I ride Chip's coattails endlessly. Soy Jack. Well, all of those things are true. I do love Daddy Trump. He is my daddy. I love him so much. I love him like I love all human beings. Not Charizard, the one that Magikarp becomes. Not Charizard. You guys, Charizard. self-awareness is the argument here, says DS King of Kings. Self-awareness isn't the argument. It's just whether or not that is a sign of intelligence. I've had my best ideas when my hands are idle, says DS King of Kings. Nice, but anyone who's worked at a restaurant, if you've got a bunch of people standing around and not having busy work, they end up spitting in the fucking coleslaw or playing grab ass. So then all of a sudden you've got fucking
What's
sexual harassment cases. You don't want people standing around in a restaurant. Every time you see people standing around, you got to chase them out of the corner and be like, okay, get back to work. You don't have silverware to polish. I didn't give you enough side work. Come on, guys, let's go. Because they'll end up harming each other or themselves. It's pretty common.
Would you tell that to a person who goes outside to take a smoke? Would you go like, hey, come on, do something. You're not allowed to take a smoke. Do
Depends
something.
on how many. Depends on how many.
The thing is, you still need that break. I agree with you. It's not for
No one is saying not a break, but when they're standing around doing nothing, you don't want them all doing that.
But they could be.
Now we have to
They could be-
define something new. Is downtime the same thing as idle hands? No.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
exactly.
don't think so. Taking an intentional break, it's about intentionality. Exactly, Skylar. The term, this proverb or aphorism, whatever you want to call it, the devil has worked for idle hands, is not about don't take a break ever. It's like, dude, be industrious. Do something with your time.
And by the way, like this idea that you can't have thoughts while you're engaged in activity is stupid. Like some of the best, I also have great
Yes.
thoughts while I'm in the middle of running, while I'm in the middle of working with my
100%.
hands. I mean,
True.
You don't have to be stationary and lazy or sitting on the couch to have thoughts coming to you.
There's more socialization issue than idle hands. Sure. I mean, Skylar introduced the idle hands thing. You guys don't let it derail you too much. It was just a fleeting kind of.
I just like.
It was an excursion, like a Warney run. It was an excursion, okay?
I just like to remind Trumpy Dumpies of the Bible and whether or not they stand behind it.
Well, okay. Yeah, they don't. You already know that. But thank you, DS Kings of Kings. I know you just got here, and I love you for contributing to the channel. Thank you so much for doing that. I really do appreciate it. I don't mean to be mean in any way. Here, another quote from our friend over in England, John Keats, in his letter to Benjamin Bailey. I'm certain of nothing but the holiness of the heart's affections and the truth of imagination. As intelligence. Is that what intelligence is? The truth of imagination. Is imagination what intelligence is?
I don't know what truth of imagination is.
That imagination is the truest form of intelligence, put it that way.
I don't know. There's people who like is imagination like, you know, people with aphantasia. Have you ever heard of that?
Is that where you can smell colors?
No, it's when you cannot imagine things.
Have you heard of those people that can smell colors? It's crazy.
No, aphantasia is people who can't imagine things. Does that mean they don't have imagination, or does that mean their imagination is different?
I just would say maybe they're not intelligent.
I don't think
I mean,
they're
that's
unintelligent.
maybe they have cognitive disability. It's clearly a disability, right?
I think it's like, I think we're thinking of intelligence way too linear. I think intelligence
I don't think I'm being linear at all, man. I'm all over the place. This is like string theory, squiggly lines. What do you mean?
Yeah, but that's what I mean, right? Like, I think intelligence, like I think, for example, imagination adds to intelligence. I don't think necessarily is required, and I think maybe you can have like intelligence overall that's better in a way. Sorry, that's different. But I don't know what the fuck am I saying.
Okay, I've got this. I do want to talk about the dromosphere and the fascism of speed and Walter Benjamin, just because it was on my mind when prepping for this. His epistemological model is about holding... Truth is not arrived at by advancing toward it. It appears suddenly at the intersection of multiple contradictory perspectives held simultaneously. And he called it a constellation. You don't approach a thing linearly, like you said. You orbit it until it reveals itself. This is something that I've thought... this is something that stuck with me in college. The first time I heard this, I was like, the fuck? And I love it so much. There's also the concept of his dialectical image, meaning emerging as... that meaning emerges as lightning flash intersection at past, present, not through systematic deduction. Intelligence is the capacity to recognize these moments, to be awake to sudden coherence. And that's not a skill you can drill. What do you think? Chip disappeared. It's just you and me. What the hell?
I don't know. Acknowledging the moments. I've had friends who I try to get to recognize sentience in other creatures, and I took them out with me while I'm paddleboarding with my dogs, and we're crossing the bay. And they're like, "Wow, look at you! Your dogs are really taking it in." I'm like, "What do you think they do? What do you think dogs aren't aware of their surroundings? Like, and they're like, do you think they understand what a sunset is?" I'm like, do they have to know what the fucking word sunset is to enjoy something?
No, but Skylar, you seem to
air
suggest that they don't have deeply, intelligent thoughts, and I think they do. I think animals do. I think you were suggesting that. I think because they're too busy. Like wild animals are too busy surviving. But I think I've seen lots of times.
No, that is not where I was going at all.
Well, I see a lot of animals sitting on ledges and just staring at the sky and just like I don't know. I see animals all the time just looking like they're deep in thought. I see them dreaming.
I film them doing it. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. So I think they're doing a lot.
I'm saying that we have this idea that because we sit and contemplate things, that makes us different than other creatures. Well, not only are they busy living life, but they also contemplate, but we don't spend any time observing the fact that they actually do that. In fact, we don't know shit about shit, which I alluded to earlier. We don't observe other creatures, and yet we sit on our high thrones declaring things about these creatures that we don't know anything about.
I see. What's weird about that is that I think that we don't, because I sat on my porch and read yesterday, as I do every Saturday morning, and I'm looking at the crows were making noise, so I looked up at them, and I see them hopping around and kind of talking to each other and just kind of like looking like, what the fuck are they doing? They're not doing any tasks. They're just kind of hanging out. And
sure,
pretty sure. Like, I don't know. As a casual observer of crows,
it was their downtime.
It was their downtime. They're just kind of hopping around. They're talking to each other. They're kind of fucking around. Crows seem to always just not always be. Sometimes they're on like hunting expeditions, but a lot of times they just seem like they're just fucking around. And I don't know. I think what happens though, Skylar, is that then people see that, and then they're told later on. They go inside, they watch a football game, and the football game has advertisements on it, and the advertisements are all like, "Eat chicken, birds are food," and they go, "Yes. Birds are stupid and deserve to be eaten." You know what I mean?
We've seen all animals play, right? And play is a indication of some form of intelligence, if you ask me, because play is essentially doing nothing but being interested in something, isn't it? It's like, oh, this looks interesting, I'm gonna do it. It doesn't really serve me any purpose for my survival or for my benefit. I just enjoy doing it. And when animals play, sometimes you do see them contemplating afterwards, like that they, as if they learn this new abstract thing, just like we do. The fact that we think they're different is insane. By the way, if you're interested in animal intelligence, Skylar, there is this really interesting paper. I think if you Google it, it's called "Do Animals Think Fast and Slow?" Something like that. If you Google something like that, the paper actually discusses how intelligence is almost identical in humans versus animals. It's just that we as humans have more memory, and more memory when I mean like functional memory, like RAM, and more storage. So essentially our brains work almost identical. We just have a little bit more of it. That's why we're capable.
We have more of phronesis, practical wisdom. We have more practical wisdom and the ability to dwell in uncertainty without reaching the resolution.
Well, if you compare AIs, yeah, go on, sorry.
Well, a lot of play has purpose. I mean, they might be having fun, or at least old school human beings used to play and develop skills, and they were having fun while doing it.
We still do though. Like
Do they?
I think we do.
thought that you
I
go
think
code inside of a building instead of play outside.
that's not playing.
Wrestle and fight.
That's not playing. That's working. So like play still exists. We still do word problems and word searches and crossword puzzles and Wordle. Those are still very popular. That's playing. And the reason why we love doing it is because language is a part of our survival. Talking and collaborating and working together is survival. So the fact that we have these word games and singing and all of these patterns that we do as play, music, I mean, that's what makes us us. Empathy is a game. We love watching movies. That's play, and empathy is a survival skill.
Yeah.
This is something I think it's just as like a squirrel chases another squirrel up the tree and jumps from one limb to another when they play. That's learning survival to escape predators, whatever the hell they're learning how to do, right? Like
They get better at life.
they
That's
get better
what
at
it is.
life. Yes. And I think you get a richer, that's so I love the way you said that, Chip, because you get a richer experience of life the more you engage in some of the higher levels of play. And it could be sports balls, but I think that, even sports balls, people get obsessed with like numbers and fucking, what do you call it?
Well,
Probabilities.
that's what I
and shit.
meant by purpose in play. Yeah, I was thinking more along the lines of wolves wrestling with each other. And,
Yeah.
one pins one's down, and he has the throat exposed. They don't kill each other. They're having fun, but it's replicating an actual moment in life where they might need these skills to come out on top.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
They're developing survival skills. I totally agree with that. I think that what happens is this, but when it comes to intelligence and when we're talking about Walter Benjamin and this ability to like look at things from all these different perspectives and circle a truth from all perspectives, and then when you see things from you start getting to an aha moment. So like if you imagine looking at a building, you might not know what the building looks like if you're just standing on Fifth Avenue and looking up at the Trump building, right? You don't know what that building looks like. You don't know that on the inside it's hideously decorated in gold lame curtains and gold-plated everything. If you go inside of Trump Tower, it's all disgusting. It's like the paintings are all gross. Everything sucks about it. It's hideous. It looks like Saddam Hussein's decorator did it. And then, but if you were on the outside, you have to look at every little piece of it. You standing on outside of on Fifth Avenue, you don't understand that building. But if you go all around it, you might have an aha moment where it kind of like crystallizes in your vision. And maybe that ability to hold all those ideas in that tension is what intelligence is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, maybe. I think to some extent, because you're mentioning also this, and I was mentioning data also, how much knowledge and how much information. I think, and I was wanting to give the example of AIs. The ChatGPT version 3 had 1 billion parameters. ChatGPT version 4 had 40 billion or hundreds of billions. Now I think now it's in the trillions. So obviously, the more information you can synthesize at one time will give you more capability of intelligence. It not necessarily means you are more intelligent, it just gives you more capability of intelligence. So it obviously matters when it regards to animals versus humans. It doesn't mean that we're more intelligent. It just means that we can synthesize more information at one time. But biologically, I think we're all kind of the same in the brain.
But what use is taking all that intelligence at the same time if we're not going to hold with it and sit with it and wait for an intersection of opposing ideas to give us a new, this aha moment or this new epiphany?
Our brain wasn't built for mathematics and shit like this. Our brain was built for facial recognition, dialogue, right? Like most of our brain is occupied by facial recognition, dialogue, and the rest is shit that everyone else has. So
yeah, but what is intelligence? I think that what separates us from machines is that machines don't have epiphanies, and I don't think they ever will. They won't go like, oh, I've got a new idea. Like I think it's just going to be improving on the same old ideas.
But Sky, epiphanies are also not. Epiphanies are not. They're not derivatives of information. Epiphanies are things that our brain signals. I don't know if you've ever been very high or maybe asleep, but you could have had that feeling of epiphany while at the same time have absolutely no information that would give you such an epiphany. So
what?
Yeah, that feeling that you had an epiphany is just a feeling that you can trigger, essentially. It's not necessarily that you actually had an epiphany, right? So maybe we can teach AI to have epiphanies by just simply triggering an epiphany feeling.
No, epiphany is a truth that arrives suddenly at the intersection of multiple contradictory perspectives held simultaneously.
Okay,
And
but I mean that
they
aha
could be in your
moment.
subconscious, I guess. But yeah, I mean,
That
what do you mean with zero data you're going to have an epiphany? That wouldn't make any sense, Chip.
no, you know that feeling of aha moment?
Okay, yeah.
That is a feeling. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
It's just
maybe
a
I shouldn't say
feeling.
aha moment, like a cow figuring out how to open a latch and then jumping. Have you seen the cow opens the latch and then jumps for joy and he's all happy? Not that feeling of euphoria, but I'm not
Not
talking about the
euphoria, but
feeling. I'm not talking about the feeling. I'm talking about the fountainhead of intelligence that
yeah, but
occurs when you have too many ideas that are contradicting each other and they give birth to a new idea.
But you're right. I see what you mean. It's just like taking all that information and then synthesizing that and deriving an idea behind that. And we can do that, but we also have on top of that, when a lot of the times when we do that, we also get this feeling in our brain, or like, oh my God, something lit up there. And what I'm saying is that these are two separate things. One is taking that information, synthesizing it, and formulating a new idea. And the other is that feeling that you get in your brain. And because they're separate, can the AIs do? I think AIs will be able at some point to synthesize that information. Will they also be able to have that feeling? No, because they don't have feelings.
It's
And
not just
that's
about
the
the
point.
feeling. I don't think they'll ever get to that level of intelligence where they're actually, because
But they're
a
doing
whole
that
point of
already.
AI, the whole point of AI is to improve upon existing things. They're not connecting ideas. I've
They're
seen what
training
AI
each
does.
other. They're
They are
training each
training
other.
each other, but they're training each other with data points that aren't conflicting and even dwelling in that at all. They're not trying to circle something, and they're looking for
Oh, I see what
solutions.
you mean.
They're looking for solutions, and what a human being does when they're thinking is not look for solutions, but sit with the discomfort of conflicting ideas. Before we go, because we're running out of time, I do want to talk before we go about fascism and the dromosphere, because it's kind of my thing that I always talk about. But Paul Virilio, The Logic of Speed, argues that in modernity, velocity itself becomes the organizing principle of power. Whoever moves fastest controls the territory, the narrative, the market. The dromosphere is the world remade in the image of acceleration, not just faster transportation, but faster thought, faster decisions, faster obsolescence of everything, including people. STEM education is dromospheric inherently. It rewards the student who arrives at the correct answer fastest. Same thing as AI. Time tests, competitive rankings, speed of processing as a proxy for quality of mind. This isn't a natural pedagogical choice. It's the internalization of the industrial and digital capitalism's core value, throughput. And I think this is what separates us from humanity. That brought me to the idea of Marinetti. Marinetti wrote the Futurist Manifesto in 1909. It was kind of considered proto-fascism. He explicitly celebrated speed, machines, and violence as beautiful. It doesn't escape me that is at the turn of the 20th century, 1909. I've read that manifesto 100 times. I find it fascinating. It wasn't incidental to fascism. It was constitutive of it. And the
Can
worship of
I?
the worship of efficiency, the contempt for the slow, the deliberate, the ambiguous, those aren't aesthetic preferences, they're politics, and it's what's affecting our attention spans, our economies, and it lives at our schools.
A lot of that I didn't like it, but I just want to push back a
Okay,
little bit
great.
because I don't think
What don't you
I don't
get?
it's just a lot of words. But I just don't think STEM
Words.
is inherently dromospheric, because I don't think STEM necessarily has to have speed or something. I think capitalism does that to everything, and STEM is just one highly practical thing that can be applied. So then for capitalism, we'll use more of it. But if, for example, we lived in a time when poetry was inherent to us and we had to like poems were sold all over the place, then making poetry would have been just as dromospheric as anything else.
It
I
would have
think
been
the only reason
dromospheric because it wasn't about how fast can you write a poem until you were selling
it would
poetry.
have been
When
it would
people
have
were
been
just wandering around the hillsides, and you had a guy who was the bard,
it would be
and
Sky
he knew
if
and
we
he
lived
knew
in a place.
songs.
If we lived in a world where people's survival or people's day to day, how they make money would depend on how many poems, or how good of a poem, or how fast of a poem they make, then it all becomes part of a dromosphere. Because
Well, that's where we're at today because of fascism. That's where we are today. You don't care about your favorite singer unless that singer has a new album out. Your favorite rapper's got to have a new album out every year, or else you forget about them.
But
this
I
is
wouldn't-
dromospheric, yes.
I wouldn't demonize STEM particularly, right? I think STEM is just as much a victim of the dromosphere of capitalism as everything else. Because honestly, mathematics to me has been one of the things that has opened my mind the most out of everything. Mathematics and logic.
Mathematical theory and stuff, you're right, and logic for sake of logic, but that's not what STEM is. STEM is there. The reason why we're pushing STEM is because the industries of America and abroad want more cannon fodder. And
It can be that, but that's what I'm saying. It's not STEM in particular. It's just this happens to be the universe we live in, where STEM will force in this position.
And the tragedy is, like, we're training these kids how to be GPUs, and we've already the cheap GPU has already won. The cheap GPU has won that battle, and we're fighting yesterday's wars. It's insane
Not
to me.
Speaking of fascism, is Antifa gone now? Or did Trumpism talking about Antifa run its course and they don't need it anymore? Because I feel like they don't talk about it anymore.
Well, I'm Antifa.
They do, what do you mean? They just sentenced that
still?
guy to 20 years for having Antifa literature.
Oh, I'm sorry. I can't keep up.
Some of these things are finding their ways to the court, and they're going to find out, like, they're going to go all the way to Supreme Court because they're putting people away for having literature. Like, publish.
Jesus Christ.
You're spreading terrorist literature because you had an anti-fascist pamphlet.
Can I present a question to you two? Get your response.
Absolutely. Before you do that, can you hold on? Can you hold on to it for just one more moment? Because I want to. I made all these things. I want to make sure I use them. I didn't make them for nothing. But I did want to have one more quote from Walter Benjamin: "To lose oneself in a city as one loses oneself in a forest, that calls for quite a different schooling." All right. Sorry. Go ahead, Skylar.
No, the cool quotes, and you put a lot of work into it. I would hate to.
No, please. I've got lots of them.
I almost find it as a sign of insecurity as a species, or some sort of a deep set need to believe that we're smarter than animals, that prevents a lot of people from even being willing to acknowledge signs of intelligence of non-human animals. And religion ties into that, because as someone who was raised in a Christian household and the Bible, and God did this for us, he sent his only son for us, this and that happened because of us. It wasn't for them, it was for us. And it gave you a sense of, oh, wow, this is why we're here. This is our purpose. And therefore, if you begin to acknowledge sentience in other creatures or intelligence in other creatures, it starts to maybe put a hole in what you thought you yourself were all about. It's like, well, shit, if these other things are intelligent and they have sentience, then maybe them suffering and being tortured and going to hell or not having a soul isn't such a nice story.
Which is funny, since Jesus actually absolutely cared about the suffering of animals, and absolutely had compassion for animals. Mercy doesn't stop at species. I mean, Jesus is depicted holding a lamb all the time. Like, he frees the doves.
And of course, I mean, the Bible is like two different things. Obviously, the Old Testament is all about sacrificing animals,
right?
To the same God who sent his son, who holds the animals. And God knows when every sparrow falls, but he creates a planet full of people whose purpose is to destroy the planet. I mean,
but Skylar, like that. The people are said to destroy the planet, but Jesus is supposed to inspire human beings to not to destroy the planet. I mean, Jesus gives the ultimate sacrifices himself so that we no longer have to sacrifice animals for God. I mean, that's why he sacrificed on the cross. He goes into the money chain, the den of thieves, and he releases the pigeons, the doves from the boxes, because they're going to be sacrificed. The dove we still people capture doves in order to release them as a symbol of peace or love because Jesus released doves. People miss the fucking idea. They literally would go and slave a dove in order to celebrate that symbol from the Bible, but they don't know what the symbol meant in the Bible. So it's like I'm totally with you, man, but at the same time Jesus was supposed to fix all that. But people just can't let go of that Old Testament, baby. That old time religion.
I like this idea that we think we're more intelligent than animals, but the irony, and I agree with you, Scott, the irony is that most people who claim intelligence, they're smarter than animals, are people who behave exactly like the animals they claim they're more intelligent than.
Yeah.
They don't really think for themselves, or at least I would say a lot of animals think for themselves, but these people don't. They a lot of the times just follow what everyone else does. Their main excuse is I've always done it or everyone else around me does it. How is any of this conducive of intelligence? Why are you claiming higher intelligence if you're not even using it? That's like saying I should win this race because I have a faster car. I'm not going to use it right now, but I have a faster car, therefore I should win this race.
Which is why I mentioned the insecurity aspect of it. If you indeed believe that you're intelligent, and if you're secure with your own intelligence, then who gives a shit if another species is intelligent? Please, all of you, be intelligent. I'm okay with myself. I'm okay with my intelligence. I don't need you to be dumber to feel good about myself.
That's because they present the world as a zero-sum game. I don't have to be a dominator of a woman or a minority, but because I don't care. Like, I would like everyone to do well. We live in an age of abundance. Everybody should be doing fine, and yet they think there's winners and losers. Donald Trump does this all the time. There's winners and losers. There's winners and losers, and that's all there is to it. And it's bullshit. It's a lie. It's a lie. It's fascism, man. And it always comes back to that, and we can't escape it. I mean, F.T. Martin Marinetti said that we want to glorify war, the world's only hygiene, militarism, patriotism, and the destructive gesture of freedom bringers. This is the from the Futurist Manifesto. Speed is the hope of the West.
Jesus.
Paul Virilio. And I can't escape that. Like, it's always about this political expediency. Of course they want us to kill animals because they make more money off of it. Jesus was crucified for freeing animals and telling them it was the wrong way. And then vegans are surprised that when they go out and talk about animals that people want to crucify them. Like, it's Jesus told us, if you if you preach mercy, they will hang you. And yet
I got shit from fellow activists today, so don't tell me.
Today I got I want to talk about that in the next stream, actually, because I hate vegans. But
I'm vegan, don't hate me.
I mean, it's just I hate these Johnny come lately vegans. These people who go vegan and they got the Dunning-Kruger effect so up there. They're like Johnny come latelys. I'm so sick of them, man. It's like, you've been vegan for 5 minutes. I feel the same thing about fucking people like JD Vance, who claims to be Catholic. Motherfucker, you've been Catholic 5 fucking minutes. Don't fucking tell me you're Catholic. Oh, let me listen to JD Vance to tell me about Catholicism. Motherfucker, if you didn't wear a school uniform and have a nun, you're not fucking Catholic as me. You can rot in hell, JD Vance. Fucking JD Vance, king of the Catholics all of a sudden. Anyway, Christianity is submission. Christianity is
it's a cult.
It's believing that the old men in charge are. I said this thing, like, it's this water ritual where an old man, you hold your nose while an old man dunks you in the water, and in order to prove your fealty to the master. But meanwhile, the master's the old man. Not the God. There's no God. It's the old man dunking your head underwater. That's the master. So ridiculous to me. I need to be dunked underwater so I can prove my fealty to God. Your God is the guy dumping you under the water. Anyway, that's it. Real human intelligence. I did want to bring up Friedrich Nietzsche, but we have only 3 minutes left. You want to go 3 more minutes, okay?
Go for Nietzsche.
We're going to go for Nietzsche. We're going to do it right now. Friedrich Nietzsche What is real human intelligence? Keats says it's negative capability. Martha Nussbaum says it's moral imagination, the capacity to genuinely inhabit another's position, not just sympathize abstractly. Nussbaum argues this is what literature uniquely trains. That's the thing I was talking about with movies, and that a democracy without it is structurally incapable of justice. It cannot be assessed by rubric. I think moral imagination is pretty important and a sign of intelligence. Practical wisdom, we already talked about, phronesis, Aristotle. Emotional intelligence, Goldman. We have all of these quotes. Whoever fights monsters should see. Oh, let me bring it up on the screen. Whoever fights monsters should see. Oh, fuck me. Yeah. Here we go. Let me just bring it up on the screen. Whoever fights monsters should see that in the process he does not become a monster, and if you gaze long enough into an abyss, the abyss will gaze back at you. What do you like about that? You like that one? That's some neat. I know you love Nietzsche. I know you love Friedrich Nietzsche.
I do like him, man.
Yeah.
Fights him.
Whoever fights monsters should see to it that they do not become a monster himself, and if you gaze long enough into an abyss, the abyss will gaze back at you. Man cannot live without a permanent trust in something indestructible in himself. Franz Kafka, another. Well, he was Czech, but he wrote in German. And the last one that I wanted to say about intelligence that I thought was good. Last one. We shall not cease from exploration, and the end of all our exploring will be to arrive where we started and know the place for the first time. T.S. Eliot.
I like that.
You like T.S. Eliot? I knew you would like T.S. Eliot. You'd love the poet. It's funny, you love the poet most of all, huh?
I do like poetry, Sky. I just don't like poetry. I like poem. I don't know what. I like poetry. I just don't like it when it's like too fancy. It's like I like plants. I just don't like it when they become too complicated. When poetry becomes like when I have to read every single thing and be like, what the hell does that mean? Like I like obviously, who doesn't like rhythm and right? Because poetry has to have rhythm. Who doesn't like rhythm?
Or intentionally no rhythm. I mean, it's a whole thing. It's the interplay of all those things. But I guess to end, the thesis was always that AI is now better than humans at everything STEM schools cultivate. The only irreplaceable capacities are the ones we've been calling soft, and the humanities are not a luxury. They are the survival kit. And I think poetry falls into that. We shall not cease from exploration, and the end of all our exploring will be to arrive where we started and know the place for the first time. Thank you, everybody, for joining us for the Ethical Underground. If you're a purple or black belt member, you can come onto the members only stream. And Skylar, do you want to do the members only? Or you said you had to go. You're going to get out of here?
Believe it or not, I'm got to go get my nails dirty and play American football.
American football?
Yeah, don't get a concussion.
Do you play with a rubber ball?
No, we play with a real football and we really hit each other. So if any of your trolls would like to meet me out there, I'd love to put them on their asses and put my dirty
Skylar Thomas is playing with a leather ball.
No.
I'm sorry, I don't bring the football.
You don't bring the football. All right, well, there you go.
I don't get to choose. You know what? You set a goal for me. I'll introduce the faux leather next week.
Yeah, or maybe check the balls, see whether or not it might have already been accomplished. A lot of those balls are faux leather. The ones in the NFL are not. They're cowhide. All right, thank you everybody for
Nothing.
Yeah. Do you want to say goodbye? Please go ahead and please subscribe over at Skylar Thomas's channel, the Watching Humans podcast and channel on YouTube. And That Chip Guy is That Chip Guy on YouTube and Instagram. I think you're the real Chip Guy on Instagram, though. But you can find him if you just write Chip. Thank you, everybody, for joining Illegitimate Non-Corroborandum. Don't let the bastards grind you down.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Be smart, everybody.
Be vegan. That's smart.
Be smart. I don't think you could be vegan if you're not smart.
Yeah, exactly.
Join the resistance. Join the resistance. Join the resistance. Join the resistance.
The Ethical Underground.
Join the resistance.
It's funny. I got some. This one always cracks me up. People like, you can't enjoy a game of ball as a vegan. Johnny boy, I doubt you've ever enjoyed a game of ball. You pussy ass bitch. All right, thank you everybody for joining.
That escalated quickly.
I'm so tired of these pussy ass bitches, and I got a lot of shit to talk about in the next stream. So let's go over there. What do you say, Chip?
Let's do it.
All right, bye everybody. If you're purple or black belt, join us in the private.
Thank you so much for watching.